I'm sorry for the title of this video. I'm sorry for even talking about this subject, which is thoroughly awful. It's just a really horrific story through and through. Sorry for those that lost their lives, everyone affected, the families. I was really conflicted about making this video. But in the end, the more I read about it, and it was specifically the way that things were reported and talked about regarding the story, I just couldn't keep my mouth shut. If you don't know the details of the story, Lindsay Clancy she's a woman from Massachusetts in the United States. After giving birth to her third child, this was during COVID times, she experienced what they diagnosed as a kind of postpartum depression, and she was prescribed a series of medications. In the end, she ended up being prescribed 13 different medications, and many of them overlapped. Many of them she was taking at the same time. She was in therapy. But as you know, during that time, a lot of these meetings were remote. They were not happening in person. And as her husband describes in many of the articles written about what happened, things got increasingly dire. Her state became more and more distressing, and it ended with her strangling her 3 children and trying to kill herself. She threw herself off her roof. Her husband came home, found her still alive, and then found his children. As I said, it's a thoroughly horrific and awful story, and I'm sorry I'm talking about it. The reason I'm talking about it, the only reason I even discovered this story, this thing that happened, is I was going through my inbox, through my emails, and I had a digest email from the New Yorker, and the headline, the top article, was talking about this story. And I read it. And immediately, as I was reading it, the first thing I noticed is that it's rather casually mentioned that she was prescribed to benzodiazepines. She was also prescribed to SSRIs, which have their own known set of issues. I just have less personal familiarity with them. But it was kind of casually mentioned. It was mentioned, but her experience with benzodiazepines and even her husband's testimony about it, because at one point he suspected that she was going through benzo withdrawal. At one point it sounds like interdose withdrawal. At one point it sounds like actual withdrawal. I suppose we'll find there's going to be a whole trial around this horrific story soon enough. But what really bothered me is that the benzos and the benzo withdrawal, the possibility of it, were really kind of like footnotes in the story. And then I read some other articles, and they'll mention the fact that she was polydrugged and over-medicated. Most of the articles will really zero in on the postpartum depression, and specifically they'll talk about a condition called postpartum psychosis, which could possibly instigate something like this. I'm not making this video to lay the blame at anyone's feet. I'm making this video simply because benzodiazepines and benzo withdrawal have left a trail of wreckage through so many people's lives. And the fact that it's more of a footnote in the story rather than, if I was writing a story about this, I would have several paragraphs devoted to the fact, just breaking down, these are possible outcomes in benzo withdrawal. These are symptoms. This is a bit what the experience is like. Her husband at one point, talks about finding her in this state of torture and misery and distress, rocking back and forth. It sounds like akathisia. That possibility, the idea of akathisia is not even mentioned. Akathisia being mentioned as a possible side effect of benzo withdrawal, for me, should have been included in all of this reporting. Akathisia, and I made several videos on the subject because it was the worst symptom I experienced. But if you go online, even the most rudimentary garbage AI regurgitation of the internet that Google will provide will tell you that suicidal and homicidal thoughts are complications of akathisia. I mean, I know when I was experiencing akathisia, it was the only time in my life, it was the first time in my life I experienced suicidal ideation. I didn't actually I didn't plan anything. It was the first time in my life I had the thought, it would actually be better to be dead right now. I remember the thought, it hit me like a ton of bricks. It was stunning. Again, this is something absolutely horrific that happened. I'm not going to go into the weeds with trying to say this happened because of this drug, or even it happened because of this combination of drugs, or this woman is pure evil. I don't think that, for the record, but that's not the point of this. The point of this is that most people, when they're learning about the facts of this story, are not getting any of the information about the depth, about what benzos are capable of, about what benzo withdrawal can do to someone. It's just not there. It's absent. Even if it's not front and center, it needs to occupy a prominent space in this reporting and the way we're talking about this thing that happened. Anyway, I'm sorry for even bringing it up. Hey, sheep. This was not actually the video I wanted to make today. I've got, at any given time, a whole list of videos that I'm planning on making, and this one kind of came up because I came across this story. A lot of you have been sending me messages, many of you concerned because I haven't made a video in a month. I am going to try to make some more videos in hopefully the coming weeks. I'm going to be traveling a bit. I'm running a trip down to Guinea-Bissau, and I've been updating this guidebook to Senegal, to the Brat guidebook to Senegal. Yeah, most of you know that my main source of income has been kind of cut off because our hotel and restaurant business in Bamako has been absolutely on its knees since, well, it's basically over a year and a half. We can't take any meaningful profit from it, so I've had to busy myself with other things, which is fine, making it work. A lot of you asked me how I'm doing as well. I think, well, at least one person thought that, so I'd made this one video about having hookworm, which was, oh, bonjour, which was a very briefly intense and terrifying thing. and it led to me taking a single benzodiazepine, which I beat myself up over. But some people speculate in some of the message I received that maybe this had led to some kind of like relapse or something like that. No, no, no. I'm doing quite well, and not saying that to brag or anything. I'm saying that partly because in the beginning of this video I'm talking about something that was horrific that happened to someone who was possibly experiencing a very acute form of benzo withdrawal. I'm saying that because I experienced akathisia. I experienced a lot of really intense acute symptoms, depersonalization, derealization, a lot of physical symptoms. I'm still dealing with mast cell activation syndrome, but I'm so grateful every day that I labored through the experience and got to where I am now. Saying things are smooth sailing, no, they're not. Every day is, every day is something that I have to get up and I think that is a blue-naped mouse bird. Let's have a look. Oh, he flew off. Damn. Anyway, what was I saying? Well, I've mentioned this in a few videos. There's no point where you get to the top of a plateau and there's not another hill to climb. And that's true for everyone, and it's especially true for those of us who have the specific nervous systems that we do and that have gone through benzo withdrawal. That has kind of put a whole nother sort of layer of challenges on top of our nervous system. But the thing that I never thought was possible, getting to where I am today, was possible, and I'm grateful for that every day. And if you're not there yet, you're gonna get there. You're gonna get there. As I always say in my videos, if you ever want to talk, just send me an email. lifeafterbenzos@gmail.com. I do offer coaching, but it's going to be hard for me to do coaching in the next foreseeable future, in the next couple weeks specifically, because I'm going to be traveling. But after that, I will be offering that again. And I put that little link, buy me a coffee if you appreciate the videos and you want to see me make more of them. It's like a tip jar. You can send something my way. Don't feel obligated. I'm certainly not trying to guilt anyone into sending me something through that. But if I am able to, not trying to make a viable income from it, but if I can kind of fill the gaps from some of my other things, I can I'll have time to focus more on making videos. So there's that. But I hope you guys are doing okay. I hope you're getting through the week. And if you ever want to talk, like I said, lifeafterbenzos@gmail.com. Doesn't have to be for coaching. If you just want to send me a message, I respond to everything. And yeah, hope you're doing okay.